It still is difficult when I see missiles. When the alarms go off that say I need to hide, I think to myself, where should I go? There's no place for me to hide.
Honestly, the church really was the first one to help. It took Europe about 2 weeks to kind of decide, are we going to help or not? What should we do? But it was the church which was the first.
I called my church. On the 21st, I started to call people in my church telling that the war is gonna come and you need to decide if you want to be here or you want to flee from Ukraine. So when the war started and people knew that there is a Russian army that was coming from the north and from the east, so a lot of people from Hostomel, they were actually fleeing and they were hiding in metro stations. So we started to bring food. At some point we figured out that there is a big need in sleeping bags, and we started to talk to our friends in Czech Republic, churches in Czech Republic, and they have collected over 700 sleeping bags.
I remember I had to be driving slowly and people were there was a crowd coming from Ukraine. And I had to go slowly, because there was no one going to Ukraine. Everywhere were mats, people were sleeping there. There were people, you could hear them cry. Some people were praying, but then there were the people from the church working so hard. It was unbelievable. This is where the church is happening. This is what the church does. This is, we don't do worship. We don't build wonderful worship team. We don't have to put up a sound system, because we worship Jesus right there when we pray with the people in need.
Later on, we heard the news that Hostomel is now opening for volunteers to be able to come. You can see cars with a word written "children," and I could see those cars being machine gunned with people in it. I saw dead bodies lying everywhere. I was like, why? At that very moment, I just couldn't talk because I was processing everything I saw.
When he saw, how things were destroyed, he was like, one day we will help people rebuild their homes. Honestly, I was like, well, how can we do that? We are ministers, we are pastors, we are elders. We are not carpenters.
When it first started, I was looking through my window and I saw Russian helicopters attacking Hostomel airport. And I was all alone. I was so afraid I went to my friend's house and slept at her house for 3 days. It's difficult for me to walk, so my son had to come help me walk there. On the way, I stopped to take a break on a bench. One of my neighbors came outside and said, "What are you doing out here? We just got information that they were coming here. They're going to shoot everyone." So my son found a wheelbarrow and helped me into it so he could quickly take me to my friend's house where we could hide. Later on, we had to hide under our beds because the soldiers were walking around with flashlights. I was so afraid.
She saw us coming and she came to our car and she said, "Can you drive me to my house?" And we could see that a lot of the houses being just destroyed because of the explosion that took place. And when we drove her, she saw her home. She started to cry.
They did not tell me. They never told me. They did not tell me that my house was burnt. My son kept that a secret.
She couldn't stop crying. She was touching walls of her home and she was telling, "Mommy, mommy, look what they did to our home."
You know, her house was totally burned, like burned down. There was only walls, and inside there was everything melted, everything, like the metals. And she was just saying, this is the house where my mom was born. And this is where I hope I'm gonna die. And she just collapsed.
I mean, it just squeezed. I started to cry, like I couldn't stop. I just said to my boys, to my team, I said, "Guys, I'm not working with you today, you know what to do, but I need to find a solution." I could not even imagine what are they going through, but if Lord sent me here, then He has an answer. And I just need to find it. I need to do something. So I started to call some of my friends saying, "Can you help this grandma? She needs a model home." People from all over the world started to send money, and we were able to buy homes.
I was sitting at my neighbor's home, and I saw this big truck with a container home on it. I was running after that truck.
And I said, "Grandma Shania, I'm very happy for you." And she started to smile, and I'm like, yes, that's the payment. I mean, she never smiled before, but when she saw that house, she was smiling, because hope brought that smile, and we got that idea to call them Hope Homes. So that was our first one, and today we have placed 221. We are fighting for their memory. We're actually fighting for the memory of children, so what they will remember from their childhood. So for sure they will remember the Russians came and destroyed their house. And then I want them to remember church came and gave them hope and restored them. They basically will have a message. My mom and dad gave me security. Russians came, destroyed security. Jesus people came and restored my security. I felt like Lord is saying that it's time to start a church for these people, because these homes, they are the great opportunity to actually show them that Jesus lives in the same home.
It was clear, okay, there is suddenly like 30, 40, 50 people who got their new homes, you know, so naturally, just without a big plan, honestly, with no plan, there was a church.
So we bought a land in April. 4 months later, we were able to start our first prayer meeting, and building was 65% done outside and 35% done from inside. And we want to create a heating floor, so when the winter comes, all those people who are living in container homes, we told them, you can come into church, we will have some beds there so people will be able to stay there. We have showers, we have toilets, we will have kitchens, so people will be able to come and they can stay there, and we will be able to take care of them.
They were ordinary people. They were people that were afraid as well. They had no training, you know, for this kind of situation. They were just learning day by day, step by step, what to do, how to do things, how to deal with different situations. Ordinary people, simple people, risking their lives, and they were doing so much.
You know, I think that we need to understand that small things sometimes do big things and bring big hope. But I want to tell you that this is not satisfying the need of Ukraine. There is so much need.